Hello, my friend. Welcome to How to Like Your Life, a brain training podcast for mindset transformation. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm Emilie. I'm a brain training specialist and hypnosis practitioner, and I'm here to teach you how to harness your own inner power using the magic and science of brain training and self-hypnosis to transform your life and like your life. Before we jump into the episode, I have a very exciting announcement. The next cohort of my 6-week hypnotic empowerment brain training masterclass is open for registration. The class will be from May 18th to June 22nd, and it's a live brain training and hypnosis online course where I will personally guide you through mental practices and exercises that you can use to reprogram your mind. You'll learn how to really clear out the mental junk that's holding you back by reducing your stress, reprogramming limiting beliefs, regulating your nervous system, so that you can start to condition your mind to feel better. You'll also learn really practical ways to increase your access to joy, boost your confidence, believe in yourself more, boost motivation, and get clarity on your goals so that you can boldly pursue them. We will do all of this through live group calls every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. There's recordings if you can't make it live or if you want to go through the program at your own pace. There are video lessons, guided hypnosis recordings each week, journal prompts, worksheets, a private community forum, and so many more resources. And I'm so excited to personally guide you through this process. I do offer flexible payment plans through Afterpay, and you can learn more and get all of the information to register at the link in the show notes. I cannot wait to see you there. And without further ado, let's dive into today's episode. So 2 days after this episode is being released, I am getting a surgery. I have stage 4 endometriosis. I am getting a pretty intense abdominal surgery. And so, keeping with the theme, today we're going to talk about how to navigate worry around really big life events that aren't so positive. Whether that is a surgery, something medical, it could be smaller, like difficult conversations. We all have moments in our lives that are hard, that we dread, that we know are coming, and we anticipate that it'll be hard to deal with. And I know that this podcast is called How to Like Your Life, which usually has a really positive connotation, but as I've said before, liking our lives is not just about being happy all the time. It's about helping ourselves also feel as okay as we can when we're dealing with really big, scary, hard life things. And when that happens, especially when we have a heads up that something's going to happen in the future, we worry. And that is a natural response. That is your brain trying to make sense of something that's not happening yet, but you know is going to be difficult. And we tend to ruminate and think about all of the worst case scenarios and what could possibly go wrong because that's our brains trying to protect us. Because the thing is, the future has not happened yet. As I am recording this podcast right now, I haven't had my surgery. It's not happening in this present moment, which means that it's not the thing that I'm actively facing, but because our brains are like little prediction machines, they really want to know what's going to happen before it happens. So we tend to ruminate and worry and overthink about all of the things that could go wrong as a way to feel prepared for them. But that tactic actually isn't super helpful in supporting our mental and physical well-being or even helping us handle the situation at all. Because what's really happening when we worry is we are mentally rehearsing that future situation going poorly. And when we imagine these things and we mentally rehearse them, our brains are actually processing those experiences almost as though they're happening in real life. This is why when you worry about something, you feel that physiological stress response in your body. You might feel yourself getting a little jittery. You might feel your heart rate go up because your brain is processing that as a real experience. And it's learning from that. It's actually learning that that future circumstance is stressful. It's creating an association with that thing that you're going to face and not feeling safe. And so, for example, if I spent all my time worrying about the surgery, worrying about the recovery, worrying about the day of going to the hospital and thinking that I'm going to feel terrible, thinking about how much pain I'm going to be in, my brain is actually going to be primed to focus on those things when it's actually happening, which is going to make me more stressed. It's going to make me experience more of that pain because what we focus on is amplified in our minds and informs our experience. So it's not super helpful, right? And if you tend to be a chronic worrier, this is not your fault. This is not me blaming you. This is our brains trying to protect us. But the fact that you naturally worry and you naturally have the tendency to imagine the future actually means that it's going to be easier for you to be able to train your brain to actively prepare and feel better in those situations that you're worried about. Because you already have an active imagination. Your brain is already trying to help you feel okay. So if you channel that energy into something more productive, which I will be teaching you in this episode today, you are going to be golden as you navigate worry in the future. And the way that you can navigate that future scary thing is the same tool you're already using, mental rehearsal. So just how actors rehearse their characters, they rehearse their lines and the characters' thoughts, feelings, behaviors, responses over and over and over again before their performance or before they have to film, you can mentally rehearse and practice what it's like to navigate that challenge feeling okay, so that it becomes inevitable that your brain feels prepared, so that it's inevitable that your inner strengths and inner resources are available to you by the time you get to that scary thing. And this isn't about controlling the outcome because we can't control our lives. We can't control everything that happens around us. It's about training yourself to be more likely to feel okay. Now, I am using this process myself each day as I prepare for this upcoming surgery. And I actually used this process for my last surgery that I had 3 years ago. And it is incredible how effective and helpful these tools are. So I want to share the story of how I used this last time and how it helped me, because I have a feeling it will really exemplify just how powerful mental rehearsal and your own imagination can be. So back in 2021, I was diagnosed with endometriosis for the first time, and my test results told me that I had a cyst that was almost the size of a tennis ball in my right ovary. So this was pretty severe. Because of this, I had to schedule a surgery for 3 weeks out. It was a very fast turnaround, and I was absolutely terrified. I do not do well in medical settings. I have cried my way to the dentist in the past, so I was not sure how I was going to handle this process. So I turned to the tools that I had, and I decided that I wanted to use it as an experiment to see how visualization and self-hypnosis could apply to something this big and this scary in life. So what I did was every day leading up to the surgery, I visualized the day of the surgery going well. I closed my eyes, I relaxed my mind and body, and then I mentally rehearsed the whole day. I imagined myself waking up in the morning feeling joyful, feeling excited to heal. I imagined my partner and I laughing on the way to the hospital, really amplifying the positive emotions that I wanted to experience. I imagined joking around with the nurses, feeling good and calm as I was preparing for the surgery, feeling hopeful and relaxed as I went back into the operating room, and imagined the anesthesia just being a wonderful wave of calmness through my body. And then on the other end, I pictured myself waking up from anesthesia, feeling happy and alert and energized, not being bothered by the sensations that I was feeling from the surgery. I pictured myself walking after the surgery, feeling totally fine, imagining the doctors and nurses applauding me, getting home after the operation, and really visualized a smooth recovery. And by the time I got to the actual day of the surgery in real life, I felt fine. I felt so okay. I felt calm. I felt like I could handle it. And the thing is, the circumstances didn't actually go smoothly. My surgery was pushed back 3 hours, so I was hungry, I was thirsty, and it was frustrating, but I felt calm because my brain, my little prediction machine, had already experienced that day so many times in my imagination that it had no reason to assume that the day for real wouldn't be okay. When I woke up from anesthesia for real, I was alert. I felt good. I wasn't really in any pain. I walked so easily. And I remember a lot of the nurses and doctors around came up to me and they were like, Emilie, why are you okay right now? Why are you in such a good mood? Why are you doing well? Because that was a pretty intense surgery. But I was fine because my brain trusted that I would be because I rehearsed. In the same way that you wouldn't expect an actor to make their Broadway debut without rehearsing their lines first, without rehearsing the experience of the character. So this is like practicing a skill until you're good at it. If you practice yourself handling that scary thing and feeling okay, then your brain will know what to do and you won't feel so stressed. You'll have more mental clarity to navigate the challenges that you face, to navigate the things that come up. So naturally, I am doing this process again for my upcoming surgery. I'm visualizing and mentally rehearsing myself feeling absolutely wonderful, but this can be applied to anything. And so I want to walk you through the process of how you can do this on your own and apply it to anything that you are worried about. I'd like to quickly interrupt this episode to share a bit about how you can make it easier to like your life using my hypnosis app, Dawdle. What you might not know is that every single episode of this How to Like Your Life podcast is paired with a recommended guided hypnosis session on the Dawdle app to help you enhance the practices that we're talking about here so you don't have to figure it out all on your own. On the app, you'll also find tons and tons of full-length hypnosis sessions to help you in so many areas of your life, including relaxation, stress relief, focus, motivation, joy, confidence, health and healing, sleep, getting in touch with your goals, and so much more. There's also a whole library of eyes open hypnosis for you to listen to while you're doing things actively, while walking, while showering. There's also a library of mood shifters, which are practices that are under 5 minutes, designed to help you get out of a stress response fast and feel better quickly. So in this podcast, I'll teach you how to like your life, and on Dawdle, it'll become a very easy task. So make sure to try out Dawdle for free for 7 days, and you can find the download links in the show notes. Now let's get back to the episode. Now, regardless of what that situation is that you want to prepare for, there's a couple of really helpful steps that you can take that can really build up your sense of inner strength and inner trust before moving into that situation. So the first step, of course, is to identify the thing that you are worried about. That's the easy part. Step 2 is to start to take inventory or ask yourself what inner strengths or inner resources within yourself would help you best navigate that situation. So for example, for me, my thing that I'm worried about is my surgery, and some inner resources and inner strengths that would really help me get through this feeling as okay as possible are patience. I'll need patience as I'm waiting for the surgery, as I'm waiting to recover. Patience will really help me slow down. Another one is optimism or hope or trust that things will work out. Really allowing myself to embrace what is happening, trusting that my doctors know what they're doing. Something else that I didn't really expect to be a resource that would help me with this, but really did last time, was my sense of humor. Just letting myself find things funny can lighten the intensity of what I'm facing and the seriousness of what I'm dealing with. Something else that's pretty obvious and probably useful for all of us is bravery or courage, the choice to face something that's hard. So I could go on and on and on. There are so many inner resources that we could use as examples. But before you really dive into imagining the situation, just think to yourself, what inner strengths would help me get through it? For another example, if you are facing a job interview that you're really nervous about, you might want to really lean into the inner strengths of confidence or an ability to connect with people, a sense of directness as you answer questions. Take some time to make a list of inner strengths that would help you. Whether or not you actually really have those inner strengths readily available, just make a list of the strengths that would really match the challenge that you're facing. Almost as if you are building a character, a fictional character that would be so well equipped to handle the situation in your life. And then step 3 is to rehearse that character. Mentally rehearse it and bring it to life in your mind. So just like what I'm doing with visualizing my surgery going well, each day leading up to that event that you are worried about, go to rehearsal the way that an actor goes to rehearsal, and find a quiet place in your home or a beautiful place where you feel safe. Close your eyes, take 10 long, slow, intentional deep breaths, because calming the mind and body can really help your brain learn from this even more. And then take some time to imagine yourself in a safe place, whatever that means for you. It could be a place in nature, it could be a place in your mind, it could be a place you've been before. It doesn't really matter. Just imagine being in a place where you feel entirely safe. And in that place, build up your inner strengths. Imagine yourself magically becoming that character that you, one by one, putting on that armor of inner resources that are specifically designed to help you feel strong and confident and calm in the face of that situation. And once you've imagined building these resources within you, you can then mentally rehearse that situation that you're facing, but picture yourself handling it well. Again, this is not about imagining the perfect outcome or controlling any particular outcome. It's about mental training, mental rehearsal, so that your brain knows what it feels like to be okay in the context of that thing you're worried about. Remember, when I had my last surgery, it didn't go super smoothly. There were a lot of hiccups. Things were complicated and delayed. There were unexpected changes. But because I mentally rehearsed myself feeling okay at the hospital, my brain and body were prepared. So visualize yourself going through the whole situation, maintaining a state of calm, saying the things you want to say, feeling the things that you want to feel, as though you are an actor rehearsing a character. Be the character of the version of you that trusts that that situation is going to be totally okay for you to manage. And I don't want to diminish the magnitude of what you are facing, because life gets really, really hard, and there isn't always a place to visualize yourself feeling happy in that context. In the way I visualized myself laughing at the hospital, it's not always going to be appropriate to amplify positive emotions in that way, but you can amplify your calm strength, your certainty, your groundedness, your patience. Amplify the inner resources and the emotional experiences that can help you feel as okay or as good as you can with whatever it is that you are dealing with. And mentally rehearse this a few times. Do it every day leading up to that event, or a couple times leading up to it, so that your brain has repetitive proof that you can handle it. Because I think that was really one of the biggest advantages that I had going into my last surgery, because I visualized it probably 20 times. I imagined this experience every day for 3 weeks going into that surgery. And that might be excessive depending on what it is you're facing. But if it's something really big, make it as familiar as you can. And by the time I got to the day of the surgery, my brain had no choice but to trust that it would be okay, because it always has been in my imagined experiences. And what I think is so interesting and fascinating is that surgery is often a trauma to the mind and body, which makes complete sense. Our brains don't know that the operation that we're undergoing is safe. It just knows that the body is being hurt in some way. But because I imagined it going smoothly so many times, and then the actual day was just one out of 21 experiences, looking back on that surgery, I don't have negative associations with it. All I really remember was feeling relaxed, feeling proud of myself for going through that hard thing. And I remember recovery feeling really nice. And consciously, I know that I experienced pain and worry and stress when it came for real. But because my brain has such a strong association with it being okay, it didn't impact me in the long term. And it did make recovery easier. It made me feel fine. Another perhaps lower stakes thing that I apply this to is auditioning and performing. For those of you who don't know my backstory, I'm also a trained actor and a singer, so I do that sometimes, although I haven't really done a ton of it since the world shut down in 2020. If I have an audition or some kind of performance coming up, I mentally rehearse it every day. I visualize myself performing whatever piece it is that I'm doing, and I picture it going well. I imagine myself enjoying it and having fun and really leaning into the reason why I love to perform in the first place. And that always makes it easier. It always makes it a more enjoyable process. I'm less nervous. I'm more playful. I'm in a better mood. I can handle the waiting before the audition or performance and after so much more easily. So this can really be applied to anything that's causing any bit of uncertainty or worry in your life. Mentally rehearse it. Show your brain what it could feel like, and it's more likely to feel that way when that actually happens. A little disclaimer here. I know that it can be really easy to fall into the trap of wanting to control the outcomes, wanting to really force it to be incredible. So don't mentally rehearse it all day, every day. You don't need to do that. Maybe do it once or twice a day maximum, but allow yourself to imagine it and then let go. Let go of that need to control, because that comes from a place of fear, as much as you're able to. And trust that doing this work is going to help you feel okay. And if you catch yourself worrying and imagining these worst possible outcomes of the situation just as you're moving throughout your day, redirect your attention and ask yourself, what if it went well? What if I could handle it? What if it was okay? What if I have everything that I need within me to feel good or okay in this situation? And use that to steer the imagery, steer the thoughts back to, what if I could handle it? And that is going to be a really powerful and useful way to counteract those thoughts that are just trying to protect you. Worry comes from our brains trying to protect us. They're doing their best. They don't know any other way. So brain training can help you teach it a different way to handle it. And let me tell you, I've been doing this kind of work on myself for years and years at this point. I used to be incredibly pessimistic, incredibly anxious. I always immediately went to the worst case scenario for everything in my life. And doing this kind of practice, mentally rehearsing things in my future going well and really letting myself build up the inner strengths that I need, has made me a more optimistic person. I am seeing it right in front of my eyes. I have this big surgery coming up in 2 days as of when this podcast is going to be released. And of course, there's nerves with it because surgery is a big deal, but there isn't a doubt in my mind as to whether it will go well. I have a really deep sense of trust that it's gonna be okay, because I know how to help myself feel okay. And I know that even if there are complications, which I trust that there won't be, that I can handle them. And again, I did not used to be this kind of person. I was not just intrinsically optimistic and trusting and hopeful. I am a walking example of how effective these tools are, because I've used them in my life and I use them in the hardest parts of my life. I say this in almost every single episode, I feel like at this point, but brain training is not magic. Brain training is a practice. It's like training the body. If you want strong biceps, you've got to go to the gym or do exercises that will strengthen your biceps regularly. And even once you reach a certain level of strength, you have to continue to work those muscles to maintain that strength. And so brain training will help you build the strengths that you need if you don't have it already. And then continuing to do it will maintain those inner strengths. It will maintain the resources within you that can help you like your life and feel more okay and more wonderful in more and more of the moments that you're experiencing. You have everything that you need within you to transform how you feel in the face of worry and ultimately be able to enjoy more of your life as a result. I'm a very practical person, so I want to share with you some additional resources that can help support the things that you're implementing from this podcast. Firstly, I have my hypnosis app, Dawdle, which has over 100 guided sessions for so many different areas of your life. And the coolest thing about the Dawdle app is that it's paired with this podcast, How to Like Your Life. So for every episode in this podcast, in the Dawdle app, you will find a library with a suggested guided hypnosis session that matches the theme of the episode. Dawdle is free to try for 7 days. You can check it out, cancel anytime. And all of the info is linked in the show notes. And if you want to take a much deeper dive into brain training and self-hypnosis and work with me to learn how to retrain your brain to really like your life fully, I do have a live masterclass called Hypnotic Empowerment It's a 6-week online brain training intensive with live group calls, video lessons, new guided hypnosis sessions and brain training practices every week, and so much more. That's designed to really help you clear out the mental junk that is keeping you stuck. So you'll learn how to reduce your stress, reprogram limiting beliefs, regulate your nervous system, build your confidence, increase your access to joy and motivation, and really gain clarity on your goals so that you can boldly and confidently pursue them. And the next cohort is officially open for registration. It's from May 18th to June 22nd. The live calls are every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, but if you can't make it live, that's totally okay. You can access the recordings anytime. You have access to the entire course for a full year. It is truly such a wonderful mental reset in such a beautiful and supportive community. So make sure to check out the link in the show notes to learn more and claim your spot in the Hypnotic Empowerment Masterclass. If you got something out of this episode, if you benefited from this in any way, please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. And if you feel so inclined, please also rate and review this podcast. Ratings and reviews are so helpful for creators like me to reach more people and continue to offer these resources for free, because I really want to make brain training accessible and make self-care accessible, because everyone deserves to like their life. You are so capable of liking your life. You have so many inner strengths within you that can help you feel better. You have been listening to How to Like Your Life. This is Emilie Lies, and it's been so wonderful chatting with you. I hope you have a great week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, friend.